Hello, this is the Office overview for the Property Pres Wizard. This is the home screen for the Property Pres Wizard. This is what you will see when you log on. Your work orders will populate here once you process them into the system. They do not appear here automatically. You do have to process them into the system, and I'll show you how to do that here in just a moment. You can click on your name up here in the top right-hand corner to access any account changes you might want to make, such as changing your password, your email address, your cell phone, as well as your physical address. You can also choose any message options you would like to receive. You can click on your name up here in the top right-hand corner for any messages going back and forth within the system. And lastly is the job queue. This is for any photos or documents you might be downloading from any of the work orders within the system. While on this screen, this is a good time to show you our hover over menu for our support ticket, admin tab, view work order, and new work order tab. You can quickly access any of the sub-tabs simply by hovering over the main tab and clicking on the sub-tab, or you can click on the tab itself to access any of the sub-tabs within, as well as the tab with the information inside of it. Back on the home screen, we have the filtering button. The filtering button is very important as it designates the criteria to which the work orders populate on the home screen. You could choose from any of the particular statuses we have available, enter in an address, city, state, zip code, work order number, contractor, etc. Once you set your criteria, simply click Run, and that will populate the work orders on the home screen. You can save any filter that you create, load and delete any of your saved filters, as well as pin the filter to the home screen. Here, you will be able to scroll up and down and still have access to it. To unpin, simply click on Pin, and that will put it back up into the filtering button. The advanced filter works very similar to the filtering button. It just gives you greater than, less than, or equal to values to which you can populate work orders on your home screen. Again, once this criteria is set, simply click Run. You can also save any of your advanced filters, load and delete them, as well as pin the advanced filter to the home screen. The zip lookup is a very helpful feature. It shows you areas that you are working within based on zip code and state, or areas that you are not working within. The columns work on the active side, top to bottom, left to right across the screen. You'll notice I have status, work order number, date received. I have status, work order number, date received, ready for office, date due, and customer. I have ready for office, date due, and customer. You can drag and drop these into any particular order that you would like, as well as make anything that is active inactive, and vice versa. Once you have your columns in the designated order you would like them to be in, simply click Save, and that will populate the home screen with the columns in the order you have just designated. This is our normal home screen. We also have a grouped home screen, which you can access by clicking the Group button. This brings about the grouping option. This works very similar to the columns, where you'll be able to drag and drop them into any particular order that you would like. You make them active by checking the checkboxes in. Here you'll notice I have status, date due, and contractor. This is the status of the work order. This is when the work order was due. And this is the contractor who performed the work. You can expand these out to view the particular work orders that fit that grouping option. Back on the normal home screen, we have the star. The star is for any saved basic or advanced filters that you might have saved within the system. That way you don't have to click on the filter button, click Load, and load the filter that way. The search within is a very helpful feature. It begins finding whatever text you begin typing in. I do recommend that once you are done using the search within, that you remove all text from it, or else you might get some very skewed results when filtering for work orders. You can choose the amount of entries per page here on the Property Pres Wizard, anywhere from 25 to 500. You can navigate these pages via the last, next, previous, and first, as well as clicking on a corresponding page you'd like to go to. The plus minus reset down here on the bottom, the plus increases the font size within the row. The minus decreases the font size within the row. And the reset puts it back to the normal default font size we have set. You'll notice that the Actions button is not highlighted until a work order is selected. You can select individual work orders one by one, a set of work orders by holding the Shift key, or all the work orders on the home screen by checking the checkbox in the top left. Once your work orders have been selected, you can click on the Actions button. The actions are put into corresponding functionality. Anything that might have to do with a status change, such as acknowledging a work order, marking a work order complete, assigning or unassigning a contractor from a work order, and sending a work order to field. You can modify a work order by assigning an admin, setting a work type, which is very important, and I will show you how to do that here in just a moment, setting your client company, changing your due dates, and just so you know, you can also hide your due dates, setting a start date, adding a job note, which I'll show you how to do here in just a moment, add a work detail, cancel or delete a work order. You can print the work orders, which will save them to a PDF, which will save them as a PDF to your computer, and you'll be able to print them out from there. You can print the client invoice, export the work orders to Excel, which is a great way to create a list of work orders, and you can download the photos. The last option is the routing option. The routing option is a very helpful feature. It is a full MapQuest capability, giving you turn-by-turn instructions as far as the most efficient way to navigate to the properties. You can have 23 properties, 25 including the start and end location, and that is a MapQuest limitation and not a Property Press Wizard limitation. The status is color coordinated based on the colors that you designate. I will show you how to change those colors here in just a moment. We here at the Property Press Wizard believe that communication is key to getting the job done efficiently and effectively. You'll notice that if you hover over any of the contractors, that their contact information appears. That way, if you have to get a hold of them quickly, you can do so. The three icons over here on the right, the first icon is the job notes. This is for any work order notes or property notes associated to the work order or property. You can hover over that icon and hover over into the box to scroll up and down if the notes exceed the size of the screen. The second icon is the mapping icon. This gives you a geographical location of where the property is located. Lastly is the property history report. You can hover over this icon to view all the work orders that are associated to this particular property. You can hover over into the box and select any of the work orders that are associated to it. The filters bar is a very important part of the home screen. It is showing you which filters are working to populate work orders on the home screen. Currently, these statuses are running to populate work orders on the home screen. You'll notice if I hover over any of these filters that a little red dot appears. If I would like to quickly remove any filter from the home screen, I simply hover over it and click the red dot. That will instantly remove that filter from the home screen. To get that filter back, I simply click on the filter button, select the filter I've just removed, or add in any new filtering criteria, and click Run. This will then populate the home screen with the filter I've just designated, putting it back up into the filters bar at the top. You can click on any part of the row to view the View Work Order tab. Once in the View Work Order tab, I would highly recommend to have your contractors work left to right across the sub-tabs up top. As the office staff, you'll have the ability to print, map, edit, duplicate, and delete the work orders, as well as view the property history and the work order information. Much of this work order information you can hide from your contractors if you so choose. The work order item details, you can have these brought in upon import of the work order. You can have them show the pricing or not show the pricing. You can also create your own auto work details, which I will show you how to do here in just a moment. The freeze property freezes any work order associated to this particular property. The office lock locks just this one work order from being worked on. You can give your contractors the ability to potentially give it an estimated complete date or potentially accept or reject the work order. The last action your contractor will perform is marking the work order ready for office. This little watch icon to the left of that could be on the left side of any of these values. That is the value history. That will tell you who changed that value and when they did so. The Job Notes page. The Job Notes page is where you will add in job notes to the Property PressWizard system. You can add a new note in a pop-out, or use the actions on the home screen to add a job note. All three do the exact same thing. The new note in a pop-out, however, just puts it into a different window. That way, if you're taking notes on a different screen, you can move it around to do so. There are two types of notes in the Property PressWizard system. The property note, which is any note associated to that particular property, and it will carry on from work order to work order. The second note is the work order note. This is any note associated to this particular work order. You can designate to whom you like to send this to simply by adding in an email address both inside or outside of the Property PressWizard system. You can enter in a reminder date and time, which will wait for a particular day and time to send that note. Enter in your note body and click Save. If you have entered in a reminder date and time, it will wait for that particular day and time to send. If not, it will send it right away. The PCR form page is for any property condition reports you would like your contractors to fill out associated to the particular property or work order. You can add in forms individually one by one by clicking on Add a PCR form. You can also auto-associate these forms, which I will show you how to do here in just a moment. You can toggle them required, yes or no, based on the toggle require button individually. Or again, you can have these required automatically, and I will show you how to do that here in just a moment. To fill out a PCR form, simply click on the title. Your contractors will then go through entering any checkboxes, text boxes, drop-down menus, etc. Once the information has been filled out, they will click Save. They can also print off a PDF version or a JPEG version for their own records, and you will be able to print off a PDF version or JPEG version to upload into a client's website. The Bid Completion page. The Bid Completion page is a very important page to fill out thoroughly and accurately, as it populates information on the next two subtabs, and I will show you how that works. If your contractors are putting in a bid, they will put in a quantity on the bid side. If they've completed a particular item, they will put a quantity on the completed side. The contractors will not see the client pricing information. They will only see their contractor information. You can have many options for them to choose from that are visible, or hundreds of more options under the drop-down menus after you click on Add a Line. If there's still not an option that they have put a bid or completion for, they can click on Other, where they will be able to type in something they do one time or less often. They can save this page as many times as they need to, which is a good thing because it does populate information on the next two subtabs. They will be able to print off just the contractor version. You will be able to print off both versions of both the contractor and the client version. If there are past bids at the property, you can click on Show Past Bids, where you'll be able to click and select on past bid or completion items. That way you don't have to manually add them in again. Again, if you're putting in a bid for a particular item, you put a quantity on the bid side. If you've completed a particular item, you will put a quantity on the completed side. The Photos and Documents page. The Photos and Documents page is where you will upload photos into the Property PressWizard system. To upload photos, simply click on Upload Photos, add your files, choose your files, click Open, and then click Start Upload. If you have any issues with the size of the photo, we simply recommend Googling PictureSizer. This will take you to a host of different websites where you'll be able to download that free program. Once 100% of your photos are in the system, simply click the red X, the screen will flash, and you'll be able to click Show All Photos. You can select a row of photos by holding the Shift key, multiple rows by holding the Shift key. You can select an assortment of photos by holding the Control key, or you can select individual photos one by one. You will notice that a few options appear when you hover over a photo. The Get option, which is to download just that one particular photo. The Zooming option, which allows you to zoom into the photo and give it a caption. And lastly is the Delete button. You can also delete multiple photos if you have multiple selected by simply clicking the Delete Selected up at the top. You will also notice that if you hover over a little lower on the photo that the XF data appears. The XF data appears when it has been taken with a cell phone with a GPS enabled or a camera with the same functionality. I do recognize that there are clients out there that are requiring this data to be attached to the photo. As long as it has been taken with a cell phone with a GPS enabled or a camera with the same functionality, that data should be attached to the photo. Here in the Property Pros Wizard, you can attach the date and time as a caption to the photo simply by clicking on the date stamp, print date time from XF data, and that will take the date and time from the XF data and attach it to the photo as a caption. To flag photos, simply click on Flag Photos. You'll now see that the items from the bid completion page are populating over here as flagging options. Anything we have put in a bid for will have a bidding option. Anything we've completed will have a before, during, and after option. In order to flag a photo, simply select a photo or a multitude of photos. For this example, I'm only going to select one. You'll notice that Locks currently has 0 photos. With my photo selected, I click on Bid, and that will put that one photo under the flagging option for Locks. I can then scroll down to view that particular photo under its flagging option. If for any reason I've made a mistake, I simply hover over the photo, click Unflag, and that will put it back up into the unflagged photos. To download your photos, I recommend clicking Download Photos, Download All to Queue. That will put it up here in the job queue, where you'll be able to download it as a zip file to your computer and then upload it into a client's website from there. You will also be able to upload documents in the Property Pros Wizard simply by clicking Upload Documents, add your files, choose your files, click Open, and then click Start Upload. Once 100% of your documents are in the system, simply click the red X. The screen will flash and you'll be able to see your documents right here. The last subtab is the Invoice subtab. The Invoice subtab will have all the completed items from the bid completion page populate here automatically. They will continue to do so until Save Invoice has been selected. Once Save Invoice has been selected, you'll have to click on Add a Line, where you'll be able to manually choose from your drop-down menu, as well as click on Other, where you'll be able to, again, type in something you do one time or less often. The contractors will not see the client invoice. They will only see their contractor invoice. Once your contractor has everything set, they will go back to the General Info tab, where they will mark it Ready for Office. If there is anything they still need to complete, this red box will appear telling them that they need to complete those particular items. If they've completed everything correctly the first time, or they've gone back through and corrected everything, they will check in the box. It will still stay checked in, and it will say Saved. This will then change the status of the work order to Ready for Office, removing it from the contractor's home screen and putting it on your home screen as Ready for Office, which you can review. The contractor will still be able to find that work order under the Search tab. The Reports tab. Under the Reports tab, under the Accounts Payable Receivable, this will show you which work orders you have paid your contractor for, which work orders you have not paid your contractor for, which work orders your client has paid you for, and which work orders your client has not paid you for. The Property Pros Wizard is a data management system. It does not transfer money back and forth. It only keeps track of data as long as data has been entered in correctly. You can also upload client payment information. And lastly is the contractor report card. This will show you which contractors are working efficiently for you and which ones might need a little bit of help. The Search tab. I highly recommend using the Search tab to find one particular work order or set of work orders. I do not recommend using the filters to find one particular work order or set of work orders, or else you might get some very skewed results. The best way to find one particular work order or set of work orders is by using the Search tab. This is also where the contractor can find work orders that he has marked Ready for Office. The Forms and Documents. The Forms and Documents is like an online filing system. It could have a host of information such as training links and manuals, handbooks, winterization stickers, etc. Any information you would like your contractors or other office staff to have quick access to, you can put in the Forms and Documents. The Admin tab. The Admin tab is the heart and soul of the Office training. When you click on the Admin tab, you will be taken to the General Application Options sub-tab. Here, you'll be able to auto-assign work orders by zip code. To do so, simply click on Auto-Assign Work Orders by Zip Code and add a rule, where you'll be able to add the state, county, and city, as well as the contractor whom the work orders will automatically be assigned to. You can also enter in any zip codes. If you do not know the zip codes, the Property Pres Wizard will do its best based on the state, county, and city that you designate to automatically associate work orders to that contractor. Back on the General Application Options page, we have the Auto Import Work Orders. The Auto Import Work Orders is one of 3 ways of importing work orders into the Property Pres Wizard system. Before we can do any importing, we must first create a client company. So that's what we'll do first. To create a client company, simply click on Client Companies and add a company. For this example, I'll use Altisource. I will then enter in some sort of discount, whether it be 0 or 100. There just needs to be a value in those boxes. Make it active, yes, and click Save. This is all you need to do to create a client company at the present moment to just get started. You can enter in this information later on. Once your client company has been created, you'll then go back to the General Application Options tab and click on Auto Import Work Orders. Again, the Auto Import Work Orders is one of 3 ways of importing work orders into the Property Pres Wizard system. The auto import works by checking a particular client's website every so many minutes for work orders that are ready to be brought into the system. To set up a new import, simply click on Set Up New Import. Choose from the list of companies that we can automatically import from, and this is that list. For this example, I'll use Altisource. I will set the client company that I just created. I would enter in my login name and password that I use to get into Altisource's website. An alert email, which will alert me when work orders are ready to be processed into the system. Whether I want to skip the comments or the line items, so this is where you would designate whether the work order item details or the line items come into with the work order automatically. You can select the particular queue options or work order item statuses, make it active, yes, and click Save. Once you've created your auto import, you will be able to see that import under the New Work Order tab under Import Queue. The Import Queue will show you which particular auto imports you have, the last time they ran, when they're planning to run again, how many work orders are ready to be brought into the system, the Check Now button, which will check at that particular moment that you click it. It will still continue to auto-check, but it will check at that moment when you click it, and the processing screen. I unfortunately can't show you the processing screen because I do need live data to do so. However, I will be able to show you that here in just a moment, a screen that looks very similar to it. The processing screen will allow you to enter in the particular work type, contractor, and admin who will be performing the work and overseeing the work. The second way of importing work orders in the Property Pres Wizard is under the New Work Order tab under Import Work Orders. Here, you'll be able to upload an Excel, CSV, or tab delimited work order. In some cases, upload a PDF. And you will also be able to check one time for a bulk set of work orders by entering your login name and password. For this example, I will use CoreLogic. I would enter in my login name and password, choose the particular queues that I would like to import from, and click Process. The third and final way of importing work orders into the Property Pres Wizard is by clicking on the New Work Order tab, where you'll be able to create your own work order. I would give it a work order number, select the particular client company that it is for, enter in the particular work type. The work type is very important as there is a lot of information that is automatically associated to a work order based on the work type. You can have as many work types as you need to, and I will show you how to create them here in just a moment. You would enter in the address, city, state, and zip, as well as the contractor who will be performing the work, and a due date. You can also create recurring work orders here in the Property Pres Wizard to put a particular work order on a schedule. This screen looks very similar to the processing screen. However, much of the information on the process screen will already be filled in because it has been brought over from a particular client's website. Those are the three ways of importing work orders into the Property PressWizard system. Back on the Admin tab, we have the Auto Work Details. The Auto Work Details, again, are the particular items that show up at the bottom of the View Work Order page. As I just showed you, you can have those brought in upon import. You can also create your own simply by clicking Add New, where you'll be able to give it a name, make it active yes, and then you will add the particular client company, customer, work type, quantity, price, and additional instructions that this particular auto work detail will be associated to. If you have any questions with this, you can feel free to give us a call. We would be more than happy to assist you. The bid completion and invoice items are the particular items that will populate the bid completion page. You can create particular items. For this example, I use Grasscut 0 to 500. I would make it active yes, and then I can set up its particular pricing structure. For example, on all work orders it will show up as 2 and 4. But let's say for my Altisource and CoreLogic companies that price is a little different. So on all Altisource it will show up as 4 and 6, and CoreLogic it will show up as 6 and 8. That way I can have one particular item with all the pricing structures for all my clients neatly set up for one item. If, for example, I have another item, Grasscut 501 to 1000, I can then enter in that particular item, where again I can add in the pricing structure for that. If you have any questions with this, you can feel free to give us a call. We would be more than happy to assist you with this. The PCR Forms page is where you'll enter in property condition reports to the Property PressWizard system. To add a PCR form, simply click on Add a Form, where you'll be able to give it a name, choose whether it is required or not, yes or no, whether information transfers from form to form, whether photos are required or not, make it active yes. You can also attach a fillable PDF version if you have a fillable PDF version. If you don't, the Property PressWizard has a very good looking generic form that it will be associated to. Here is also the page where you will designate if this PCR form will automatically associate to a particular information. You can set the particular client company, work type, customer, and loan type that this form will automatically associate to. Once your form has been saved, if you have a fillable PDF version, or if not, you will then still have to add in the questions and rules. To add a question, simply click on Add a Question, where you'll be able to choose from your checkboxes, text boxes, drop-down menus, etc. You will also be able to associate that question to a particular PDF field if you have a fillable PDF form. Again, if not, the Property PressWizard has a very good-looking generic form that it will be automatically associated to. You can choose the particular characteristics of the question, whether it is active, whether photos need to be flagged or required, etc. You could choose the particular states that you work within based on clicking on the states, making them active yes, and clicking Save. Lastly are the work types. Again, the work types are very important as there is a lot of information that is automatically populated based on the work types. You can add in your work types right here, simply giving them a name and making them active yes. The settings. This is for the settings for the Property PressWizard as a whole. I do recognize that there are many settings in here. If you have any questions with any of them, feel free to give us a call. We would be more than happy to assist you. This is, however, where you'll be able to change the colors of the statuses on the home screen. The users. The users is where you will add in users to the Property PressWizard system. Before I show you how to add in a user, I'm going to first show you the groups, because the groups is where the particular permissions and capabilities for the users is at. The Property PressWizard comes with 3 groups automatically: the admin group, the contractor group, and the manager group. These groups have the particular permissions and capabilities that we feel will help your company start running as soon as you start with our system. You'll notice that the admin group has many more permissions and capabilities checked in than the contractor group. This is a good thing because you don't want your contractors to be able to see or change certain client pricing or information. I would recommend that if you would like to experiment with grouping options, that you create a brand new group, it's absolutely free, and put a user whom is not an admin into that group. The reason being is because if you change any of the group permissions in the admin group, or you run out of admins, you could lock yourself out of your account for up to 24 hours until we can get you back in. The users. The users is where you will add in users to the Property Pros Wizard system. To add a user, simply click on Add a User, where you'll be able to give them their name, their company name, their login and password, that way you always have control over that, their email, the group that they are in, which again is the particular permissions and capabilities that they will have, show which list they are in, the contractor list, you will be able to assign work orders to them, for them to perform the work. The admin list, they will show up in the admin dropdown where you'll be able to assign them as an overseer. If you are an owner and a contractor, I would recommend being in both lists. You can make the user active, yes or no, whether they see all work orders and work order history. You can enter in their contact information. The message and alert options. This is very important. The email options and text options are user specific. That means if these boxes are checked in, this particular user will receive an email or a text anytime a note, reminder, new work order, a work order has been unassigned, or a work order has been marked into follow-up for this particular user. I do not recommend that any contractor have the alert option set. The reason being is because the alert options are company-wide. That means that anyone in the company who replies to a job note, marks a work order ready for office, or uploads a photo, this particular user would receive an email. That could be hundreds, if not thousands of emails a day, depending on the size of the company. I recommend only office staff who utilize and need these alerts have these alert options checked. Once your user has been created, simply click Save, and that will save that user. The Invoice and Payment subtab is to pay us here at the Property Pros Wizard. You can set that information up right here. The last tab is the Support tab. You can hover over the question mark and click on Tickets to view the tickets you have in the system with us. You can also click on the question mark where you'll be taken to our support page. If you'd like to try to answer any questions yourself, you can click on our manual. If you do click on our manual and type in QuickBooks, this will take you to a step-by-step instruction on how to link QuickBooks to the Property Pros Wizard. I will admit I have followed these instructions and I have successfully linked QuickBooks to the Property Pros Wizard. It is a very user-friendly step-by-step guide. You can email us at any time, call us anytime between 9 a.m. and 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or you can submit a support ticket. If you'd like to refresh yourself of any of the information I've covered today, up until the Admin tab, you can view this contractor training video. All of our users have access to the support page and can view this video. That way, if you'd like to refresh yourself on the steps on how to do a work order, you can do so. And you can also have your contractors view this as well on how to process a work order. This does conclude the office overview for the Property Pros Wizard.